All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this because Chuck Schumer just betrayed 32 millions of his own voters. Not only that, those same 32 million voters just turned on Chuck Schumer as well over this federal government shutdown, as these Democrats keep trying to blame President Trump for this. Obviously, they trying to get $1.5 trillion, trying to get free hair care for illegal aliens. And President Trump has repeatedly said he's not going to do that. And of course, Chuck Schumer, the same man who put cheese on top of a raw burger, is the one trying to get $1.5 trillion. But he having a hard time on how to cook patties on a barbecue grill. You don't put cheese on no raw meat. At least I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Cheese on a raw meat, a raw hamburger patty. You got to be kidding me. But other than that, we got a lot of news to get to today. Not only that, a Minnesota man, a leftist Minnesota man, had just been arrested for pretty much placing a $45,000 bounty on the head of Pam Bundy. So he is in custody. And of course, Hakeem Jeffries, aka the dollar store Barack Obama, is still running around, running his mouth and stuff like that. And he just got called out. But the whole point is now is that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they own party just turned on them over this federal government shutdown while they still trying to sit around and blame President Trump. Now, you know it's bad when your own party, your own people that's supposed to support you, done turned on you. So like I said, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support, and shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you that do that. The ones that always let me know down below in the comment section that you did stay to the end. So please let me know in the comment section that you did watch this entire video and you hit that like button. It definitely helps get President Trump's message out there and stuff like that. So I appreciate everybody that does that. So please let me know down below that you did stay to the end. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this. Let's start it off with this right here. If you can see right here on the screen by Eric Dollar, it say breaking. A leftist Minnesota man has just been arrested for placing a $45,000 bounty on the head of AG Pam Bundy, seeking to have her assassinated. There was a photo of the AG with a sniper red dot. He is in custody. So check this out.
Year-old Minnesota man is accused of putting out a $45,000 hit on the Attorney General. It all started on TikTok when a post with the bounty started going viral before setting off a swift federal investigation.
And the suspect's rap sheet is long, and his online activity reveals ties to anarchist symbolism and anti-government literature.
Our justice correspondent David Spunt live here in Washington. What else are we learning, David, about the suspect?
Well, John, he is charged with threatening Attorney General Bondi in a TikTok post. According to authorities in this affidavit that we just saw a couple of hours ago, unsealed recently, he allegedly offered a $45,000 bounty. In the post, there's a photo, and this was on TikTok, a photo of the Attorney General with a sniper red dot, and it reads, "Wanted Pam Bondi, reward $45,000, dead or alive, preferably dead." That's a quote. He is in custody. Additionally, his TikTok page had anarchist symbols, according to the affidavit filed. The affidavit reads, quote, "Additionally, the suspect user's TikTok page had a link to an anarchist FAQ book pinned to his page. According to open source research, as well as based on your affiant's training and experience, anarchism is a political philosophy and movement that seeks to abolish all institutions that perpetuate authority, coercion, or hierarchy, primarily targeting the state and capitalism." Now, FBI agents John and Sandra from Detroit, Michigan, received a tip from someone who was on TikTok, noticed the post in their feed, then reported this post. The FBI worked with Google, Comcast, and TikTok to
Wow, like stuff like this just has to stop. This guy talking about wanted dead or alive, preferably dead, and talking about paying whoever do it $45,000. Like, all this violence is coming from the left, but yet you get these Democrats that keep saying, "Oh, it's a both sides thing." No, it's not a both sides thing. It's coming from one side, and we all know that. So let's turn the tables real quick, and y'all let me know what y'all think about that. So like I said, prayers go out to Pam Bundy, prayers go out to President Trump and the entire Trump administration and stuff like that. But I mean, you got some crazy people out here that they just feel like since they on social media that they can't get caught or something. You think because you make a post you can't get caught? They know where you at when you making these posts. So let's go ahead and dive straight into about this government shutdown. Say, holy crap, MSNBC just sounded the alarm that Democrats and Chuck Schumer are taking huge blame for the federal shutdown. Their own voters are turning on them now. This is a very dramatic call for the union of federal employees representing hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very dramatic call from that union of federal employees representing hundreds of thousands with a statement today saying, among other things, that it's time for our leaders to start focusing on how to solve problems for the American people rather than on who is going to get the blame for a shutdown that Americans dislike. Because when the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of this shutdown, they aren't looking for partisan spin. They're looking for wages that they earned. They go on to essentially say that Congress needs to pass, in their view, a clean CR. Now, when Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about this today, he certainly kind of leaned into this. In fact, we saw several top Republicans on the House side take advantage of this statement and basically point to it, saying, Democrats, the ball is in your court now, whether or not you decide to act on this. Johnson saying, I certainly hope this is a turning point in the shutdown, noting that this is a union, after all, that is weighing in this sort of way and saying that this shutdown is a charade. Now, of course, at the same time, I have in recent weeks spoken to Democrats representing districts with heavy populations of federal employees, and their message that they say they've been receiving from federal workers was keep up the fight, that health care is the fight worth having, that it is an important time to push back on the Trump administration. Of course, as this continues to drag out, as we see federal employees now missing paychecks, will that start to change? We shall see this week when lawmakers start to return. The Senate comes in this afternoon. They're expected at some point this week to vote again on that CR to reopen the government. And members of the House Democratic Caucus are going to be here as well, so we'll be polling them too. And
that just go to show you that now that they own voters are turning on them. So it seems like Chuck Schumer is starting to surrender, which is just something that, you know, dollar store Barack Obama, Hakeem Jeffries don't like. And so a lot of people trying to say, oh, well, you know, Chuck Schumer this, Chuck Schumer that. And then they saying that AOC could be taking over very, very soon. So it seems like that Chuck Schumer is starting to surrender. So now that you see that your own side is turning on you now, they ain't falling for the part where you talking about, oh, let's just blame the Trump administration. No, it's y'all the one that's, you know, that's turning down the votes and stuff like that. And you see what Hakeem Jeffries, what he's doing. Then look right here, holy smoke, a Democrat retired federal worker just went scorched earth on Chuck Schumer for shutting down the government. Check it out.
I'm, you know, a retired federal worker, and I hear people talking about, you know, the president needs to get involved, and the Democrats are saying this, the Republicans are saying this. This is the truth. The Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. You know, they did not vote for a continuing resolution except for 3 of them. One is the senator of Pennsylvania, Fetterman, and all. So they have to get together and stop holding an American hostage. We're about to have people without food come, November 1st, which is the end of this week.
Exactly. And like I said, you know, if they're going to continue to do this, how people going to have, you know, have like EBT and all that stuff, money, you know, for Thanksgiving and stuff like that? How? It's been, 27 days on this government shutdown. And you got this woman that's a Democrat pretty much saying it's her own party that did this, which we all know, but yet the Democrats shut it down just so they can try to blame it on President Trump. So, oh, well, Donald Trump did it because he won't agree with our BS. Let's go.
And that's ridiculous. It is not worth it. Plus, the health care companies have already said you're way past the deadline for them to change their costs that they're going to give out to the public for the health care. So November 1st is open season. So they need to get together. I know they keep on saying the president needs to come back, but the power of the purse is with the Congress, not the president. You all talk about this president being the king, But if you want him to solve this problem, you're making him a king. This has got to stop in America.
Wow. She said, if you want President Trump to solve this problem, because y'all keep calling this man a king, but yet you want him to solve this problem, you making him a king. Wow.
You all talk about this president being a king, but if you want him to solve this problem, you're making him a king. This has got to stop in America. I want the Democrats to fight, but I want them to fight in a negotiating way like I did when I was a union president versus sitting up here constantly bickering and the Republicans bickering. This has got to stop, and America has got to stop accepting it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Wow. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. And so that's what I was telling y'all. Like, they own side now see exactly what's going on. Of course, you still got a few people out there that still want to agree with the Democrats. Oh, it's President Trump. It's up to Congress, not President Trump. And then not only that, Chuck Schumer, he want to do backroom deals. And Mike Johnson said he's not going to do that. He's not going to do any backroom deals. Then look at it. Holy crap, the country's largest federal workers union just demanded Chuck Schumer and the Democrats reopen the government by passing the Republican Clean CR. They represent nearly 1 million workers. American Federation of Government Employees president said that it's time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. No half measures and no gamesmanship. Devastating way for Chuck to start off the week. Wow. And you see that? The largest federal workers union just demanded Chuck Schumer and Democrats because they are the problem. They the one who shut this down. And people are just tired of them just, running around crying and saying that it's Republicans' fault when Republicans is voting. They are voting to reopen the government. The Democrats is the one that's refusing to reopen the government. How you going to have Democrats refusing to open it and then still blame Republicans? It just don't make any sense at all. So check this out. Breaking a fired up Speaker Johnson tells Chuck Schumer to shove it. He's not going to any shady back room to reopen the government.
Again, in healthcare, you will improve its quality and you will bring down its cost. All of these are important components of that, and we have a lot of work to do, but it is not a simple thing, and I am not going to go in a back room with Chuck Schumer like he keeps demanding with 4 people and make this decision. I will not do it. It's not appropriate. It's not right. It's too complicated for that. We need all the members to have buy-in. We need to have these healthy debates and discussions, but we can't do it while they're shutting the government down to appease the Marxist. That's it. That should be your headline.
Yeah, and not only that, it seemed like old dollar store Barack Obama done pretty much endorsed Mondani for New York. And that just goes to show you how these people really is. Like this dude, Hakeem Jeffrey, he is just so freaking fake, man. This guy, he does not care about the American people. Hakeem Jeffries only care about Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats. So look, even Speaker Johnson went off on this. Speaker Johnson say Hakeem Jeffries endorsing Zohran Mamdani is proof the Democrat Party is over as we know it.
Politics, all of you noticed it over the weekend. We saw our clearest sign yet that this radical insurgent movement in the Democrat Party is succeeding. And they are ending what has always been known as the Democrat Party in America. After a months-long pressure campaign from the far left, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries finally relented. He gave in, and he gave his endorsement to the socialist running to be mayor of New York City. The House Democrats have chosen a side. They were forced to by that far left that they're so terrified of, and they've shown the world what they really believe. There is no longer a place for centrists and moderates in their party. The candidate that they have endorsed, Mamdani, is somebody who we've talked about a lot from this podium. He's sympathized with Hamas and openly embraced anti-Semitic language.
Yep.
He has called to, quote, seize the means of production because he is a Marxist. He's called to abolish our borders, to abolish and end immigration enforcement, to defund the police, and to legalize prostitution, among a long list of hits that I could share with you.
To legalize prostitution,
Zohran
my God.
Mamdani is expected to take the helm of one of the most important cities in the world and the largest city in America. And he now has the full blessing of the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives. It is shocking. And that leader and all the other Democrats are going to co-own the consequences of what they do to America's largest city.
Wow. Dollar store Barack Obama then endorsed Zohran Mamdani for New York City. The man that want to legalize prostitution. You know, pretty much want the borders to be open for illegal aliens to come in. Like that just goes to show you that they don't like closed borders. They like open borders. They like illegal aliens running up in here. They love it. Why? Because they want them votes. And that's exactly what it is. So Speaker Mike Johnson say, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats went to a back room and decided that it's worth harming Americans to gain support with Marxists and leftists.
Left in their party. And they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people because they believe the Marxists, the far left and the base, are more active than hardworking Americans, people who go vote. And so they made the calculation that it's worth it to them. Every day gets better for us. We'll use the pain as leverage. For what?
Yep.
To prove to the far left base that
they definitely said they're going to use the pain for leverage, and we finna get to that in just a second.
Won't give in, that they'll fight Trump and fight the Republicans. What are they fighting? It's a clean CR. It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending. This is not some Republican wish list. We don't have any of our priorities in this at all. It's the Democrats' own product. But they have decided to flip the script this time because they were getting too much heat from the far left. The facts are so simple. And I'll give you Exhibit B as to why this is so true. On Friday, there was a little bit of a seismic shift in politics. All of you noticed it over the weekend. We saw our clearest sign yet that this radical insurgent movement in the Democrat Party is succeeding. And they are ending what has always been known as the Democrat Party in America.
Wow. So, and like I said, Speaker Johnson then stopped there and said just now, furious Speaker Johnson confirms that 1.4 trillion federal workers missed a full paycheck and are now going to food banks, all because of Chuck Schumer.
So many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day. Here's some of the stats. Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed a full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe. TSA agents we've discussed, and air traffic controllers and border patrol, and of course our troops. But so many of them now are going without pay. The families of military service members and the air traffic controllers and so many of these others are now at very real risk of missing the paycheck at the end of this month. The Trump administration has done everything possible to bend over backwards to try to find sources of funding within the federal government to be able to cover the bases, but it is getting more and more challenging with each day. Now, every Republican in Congress wants to stop this madness desperately. And we have voted many times, over a dozen times, collectively 13 times, to reopen the government, to keep it open and reopen it once the Democrats closed it. But here's the very simple and important fact that no one should forget. We have no ability. Republicans do not have the ability to do this on our own. It's a simple math problem. We need Democrats to help. You need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. The Democrats are the ones voting repeatedly to shut down the government.
Exactly. So if they the one voting to keep it shut down, then why in the world they keep blaming Trump?
But they're not opening it back up. They spent most of their time trying to distract the American people from the very simple truth. So it brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and we'll see what they do.
They're going to try to do the same thing and keep on trying to, blame President Trump. So if you see this, breaking Democrats are intentionally panicking this morning after federal workers turn on them. The largest union has demanded Chuck Schumer reopen the government, and Americans are flooding food banks en masse.
Federal workers waiting in long lines at this food bank in southern Maryland.
Look at this.
I would have never thought in a million years that I would have been in this position to have to go to a food bank.
Denise Blake says she drove over an hour to get here. When she finally arrived, they had run out of food.
We have a cart ready for you out front.
Fortunately, she did not leave empty-handed, but she still faces the harsh reality of not knowing how she's going to feed her family while she's not getting paid during the government shutdown.
I don't want my daughter to see me crying.
Blake's story is like so many others.
And then you look, this woman drove a whole hour and some and got there and wasn't no food, but luckily it was some in the inside that she went and got. But all of this is on the Democrats. You can stop with all this blaming President Trump. It ain't President Trump. It's the Democrats that's doing this.
We're waiting to get paid as Congress stalls to pass a new spending plan.
I haven't gotten a paycheck this month, so the free groceries is very important, very helpful.
More than 1 million federal workers are not receiving pay right now. Many missed their first full paycheck Friday, while others will feel the loss early next week, depending on the agency.
Now, if you notice, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they still getting their paychecks. So they good. They can care less about the American people because they still getting their money. And I guarantee you, if they wasn't going to get paid, if they shut the government down, they wouldn't have did it. But see, they know they still getting their paycheck, so they don't care. They just go to show you they never cared about the American people. And we've said that. We said, well, just then, over 40 million Americans are expecting their food assistance to run out this week because of Chuck Schumer.
This morning, more than 40 million people, that's roughly 1 in every 8 Americans, are bracing to see their food assistance run out later this week, creating a food crisis some experts say could be the worst since the Great Depression, all because of the government shutdown. The U.S. Agriculture Department, which administers the SNAP or Food Snap program, announcing, quote, the well has run dry.
Everyone's worried that, they're not going to be able to feed their families.
Exactly. So then we get to this right here where, Democrat pretty much saying, hey, we doing this because we want leverage. We got leverage because we want that $1.5 trillion for their free healthcare for illegal aliens. So check this out. I said, breaking, we just got in word. The Republicans are gearing up for massive attack ads using this clip of the number. And I'm going to show y'all a clip of this woman, this Democrat woman, pretty much saying that it's leverage. That they doing this for leverage. This clip of the number 2 House Democrats saying the federal shutdown suffering for Americans is their leverage. Congressional Democrats are facing huge internal issues right now, and they just now block paying essential workers. Hit them hard so they can't take the House next year. It's appalling to see the number two House Democrat openly admit that the left is weaponizing hardworking Americans as leverage for political gain. Even acknowledging families will suffer in the process, top House Republican said. And then you're going to hear this woman pretty much saying that she know that, families is going to suffer. But she's going to be like, well, the families are going to suffer. But we got to do this for leverage. That's what she said. The video was also playing outside Speaker Johnson's office on loop. This isn't governance. It's calculated hostage taken with struggling families caught in the balance as Democrats attempt to force through their radical agenda. Families are seen only as leverage by Democrats. We always knew it. Now they're saying it out loud. Absolutely shameful. This is a big problem for Hakeem and Chuck. It's not going away. Check out this Democrat woman pretty much saying, I know families is going to struggle, but hey, we got to do this for leverage.
Of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously, but it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Wow. I want to play this again, this 13-second clip. She said, well, this is the only leverage we have. I know families is going to suffer. I know the American people is going to suffer, but this is the only leverage we have. So look at this. Let's check this out one more time.
Of course, there will be families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously, but it is one of the few leverage times we have.
But it's one of the few leverage we have. So she pretty much just admitted it. Then look at this. Hakeem Jeffries getting called out to his face. Hakeem Jeffries got called out on CBS for Democrats' strategy of using American suffering as leverage. Jeffries and the Democrat colleagues voted against a clean bill to fund the government, hurting food stamp recipients, federal workers, and our national security.
I want to come back to healthcare in a moment, but the Treasury Secretary accused you of playing politics personally. And I know that your Democratic whip, Catherine Clark, said on Fox this past week that shutdowns are terrible, but as she put it, it's one of the few leverage items Democrats have. Do you think Democrats are gaining from this fight?
No, our focus continues to be on driving down the high cost of living for everyday Americans. Donald Trump and Republicans promised that they would lower costs on day one. We know costs haven't gone down. They're going up.
That's a lie. Stuff have went down. Like I said, egg prices went down. See, these people just sit here and lie. He won't even, talk about what the Democrats saying they're using as a leverage. You know what he do? He start talking about Donald Trump.
Inflation is moving in the wrong direction. The Trump tariffs have made life more expensive for the American people to the tune of thousands of additional dollars per year. We know that electricity bills are through the roof. Housing costs are too high. Child care costs are too high.
No,
groceries
it's not.
too expensive.
No, it's not.
And now tens of millions of Americans.
So you want to talk about groceries is expensive, but yet y'all shut down the government of especially people who get food stamps and stuff. Now they got to go to food banks, and you want to talk about groceries being high?
Americans are at risk of having their premiums explode. In some cases, by $1,000 to $2,000 per year. That's what this fight for us is all about. Republicans have come up with a new conspiracy theory every week for the last 6 weeks. The Democratic position, Margaret, has been clear. Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care.
Well, that was the quote from the whip herself when she said leverage. But I hear you on rising healthcare costs, but the immediate term, people aren't getting paid. 750,000 federal workers are on unpaid leave. 80% of the folks who work on our nuclear program are included in that figure. The Agriculture Secretary said there will be delays in food stamps for many of the 41 million people who rely on SNAP. And then at airports across the country, half of the flight delays, according to the Transportation Secretary, are because of staffing shortages. This pain is real now. So is there a point at which it becomes too great to justify continuing the shutdown?
Well, there is an urgent need to reopen the government, which is why we continue to demand that Republicans sit at the negotiating table so we can enact the spending agreement.
No, it ain't no sitting at no table. Oh my God, dude, this dude is just so freaking annoying. If the Republicans been voting to reopen this government, he keep talking about sitting at a table because they want $1.5 trillion that President Trump is not going to give them. President Trump said he's not giving them no $1.5 trillion. You're not going to get no free haircut from no illegal aliens. It ain't no table to sit at. It's like, come on, dude.
That's bipartisan in nature. That's what we've called for from the very beginning.
But the Republicans are saying they won't do that until you pass the funding bill, the clean funding bill that already passed the House. Why can't Democrats in the Senate get on board with that?
Well, we've made clear, and I'm thankful for the leadership of Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats, that we were not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people in an environment where Republicans have already enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country. There's the possibility that Medicare could face a $536 billion cut, the largest cut to Medicare in history, if Congress doesn't act by the end of this year because of what Republican policies have done in their one big ugly bill. And now they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That impacts working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans throughout the country, including in rural America.
Well, they haven't refused. Leader Thune said he'd even put that up for a vote if you open the government first. But I want to come.
See, that's what I'm talking about. They think President Trump is stupid. He want this backroom deal stuff. It's like, I'm just so sick of this, bro. It's like this dude, he get on, Hakeem Jeffrey do this stuff every single day, just saying the same thing over and over. And then the last thing I want to show y'all, look at this. Chuck Schumer is so worried about President Trump. He need to be worried about trying to reopen the government and stuff like that. Chuck Schumer is filming that Trump has shown what an actual president is capable of doing, unlike what we saw under Biden. This is his second foreign trip. So he worried about President Trump taking a trip. I know it's unbelievable to Democrats to see someone with a work ethic, but Trump is a machine.
Mr. President, open enrollment is 5 days away. Starting this Saturday, tens of millions of Americans face the specter of financial crisis, all while Donald Trump is dancing on the tarmac in Malaysia. Donald Trump may be having a nice time abroad.
Oh, that's what it is. He talking about old Donald Trump dancing in Malaysia. That's what it is. You mad because President Trump is dancing in Malaysia? Chuck Schumer is a fool. So he worried about President Trump dancing in Malaysia when he need to be trying to reopen the government and think that, President Trump is going to do some little shady backroom deal with him, and it's just not going to happen.
But people here at home are dreading open enrollment. Insurance plans that cost $300 or $400 a month will suddenly cost $2,000 a month or more because Republicans prefer to shut the government down over working with Democrats to extend the ACA tax credits.
This is crazy.
Consequently, the average ACA plan is set to more than double starting next year. The average 60-year-old couple making $85,000 a year will soon have to pay an extra $22,000 or more just to have health insurance. Imagine the specter. The devastation will be felt across the country, even by Americans with private insurance. They're not exempt. Their insurance is going up quite a bit, too. The rate of people without insurance will spike by the millions. More people will get sick. More people will lose coverage. More people will go bankrupt. More people will die from preventable illness.
And it's all y'all
Americans
fault.
have never seen a health care like this, the one that's about to begin Saturday. And Donald Trump is nowhere to be found. Americans are going to sit at their...
They keep on saying that Donald Trump is nowhere to be found. He already told you he ain't accepting that this leverage y'all think y'all got. You think he finna give y'all $1.5 trillion in free healthcare for legal? It's just not going to happen. It ain't nothing to talk about because he already know what y'all want. He already said no. He's not going to do that. So what is it to talk about?
Kitchen tables Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and say, how the heck can we pay these bills? What are we going to do without health insurance? What if our kids get sick? What if we get sick? And there is Donald Trump overseas, not even paying attention to this crisis.
So that was their whole thing, was to shut down the government and worry about everything President Trump do and try to blame it on him when they the one got the power to pass it in the Senate. So they got the power to pass it, but they the one who keep rejecting to open up the government, but yet still blame President Trump for that.
Instead of sitting down with Leader Jeffries and me, Trump skipped town for his second foreign trip in less than a month. Open enrollment is just days away, and Trump's message to the American people facing financial disaster is, greetings from Malaysia. Here's what the president needs to do. He should negotiate with Democrats to reopen the government and end the ACA crisis right away. The president should stop focusing on foreign escapades, on ballrooms, on bailouts for Argentina, and start focusing on negotiating with Democrats to lower people's health care costs.
This is insane.
Donald Trump isn't taking this crisis seriously still, as millions of Americans are just frightened, tens of millions, about what will happen.
And this is the thing. Chuck Schumer don't care about the American people. He keep on saying, well, the American people is suffering. The American people is this. It's funny you say that when y'all the one who shut it down and causing people to suffer. Donald Trump didn't shut it down. Mike Johnson didn't shut it down. Republicans didn't shut it down. Y'all shut it down because y'all want money that President Trump says he's not going to give y'all. And you trying to use him not giving y'all money is his fault. Just crazy, man. Y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this. Thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. I really appreciate it. I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.